we are going to talk about the horse To The Bit today, and the idea is to show some hows and some why about what getting the horse to the bit is all about, and try and make it visible.
Yes.
Through a series of videos that we have made.
And the reason why we chose this time is that we got this question last time, not during the stream, but just before the stream, on our page, and one woman asked us, why doesn't your horses look like relaxed and stretching their necks, and they always like walk with this posture in their necks. And we had a discussion, and we found out that this is a theme that we haven't covered enough.
Yep.
So we thought, and we know that there are many riders that have horses that are a little stiff. They are running, they are bracing against the bit and stuff.
And bracing without a bit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That also happens quite a lot.
And we thought we could discuss a little what to do and what not to do, because there are lots of quick fixes out there that you get. Some people come running with draw reins and stuff, and I'm actually going to show you how to use the draw reins. Taboo. But there is a way that you can use them, and there are lots of ways that you shouldn't use them, and I'm going to try to show you both. And my horse was not very happy with me afterwards. But what do you not do for teaching your students? So yeah, he's happy now, by the way. Yeah.
Even if I rode him today.
Yeah, you fixed him as well. Yeah.
Yep. So we're gonna go straight to the videos.
Yeah, I think so.
Video
shall we say something about why? Why is this posture important?
All right. Yeah,
Why couldn't you just let the horse move or hold his neck in the way that he wants to?
Mm-hmm. Should we talk some about that then?
A little, like philosophical stuff about that, because the woman that we were discussing with, she was at a clinic with you afterwards, so you were talking about it then, but I was just sort of picking it up as an interesting theme that we could talk about, like because as we several people in that discussion said, is the horse is not made for carrying weight on his back.
Mm-hmm.
So when we just get up there, the horse is severely unbalanced. So sort of the horse is sort of lowering his withers and all those things that we've been talking about on and on.
Yeah.
But the neck in itself is a very important part of raising the withers or enabling the withers to be lifted, so that the horse can carry that weight in a better way. And we've been talking about that many times, so we're not going to cover that. But I thought we could just focus in on the neck and head position in one concentrated stream.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Was that what you wanted to say about it?
Yeah, I guess. I will just continue while watching the video, I guess.
I could expand if you like.
Yeah, please do.
If I may.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So one of the ways to view this about neck is that the body prioritizes the neck above everything else in its movement. And what do I mean about the body prioritizes it? That's quite simple. Your central nervous system, the squashing here is the main part of the central nervous system. That's where all the decisions are made. It passes from the brain through the neck and out into the body. So the idea here is that the body has to make doubly certain that the neck doesn't suffer damage.
Mm-hmm.
So in some positions the neck is more susceptible to damage, and in other positions it is less susceptible to damage. So one of the reasons for the high neck carriage is that the musculature in the neck is then better suited to taking care of the neck in violent movements.
Yeah.
Also, it is a quite simple thing. If you take the long lever and make it short, it is easier to move around. Also, it actually moves the weight more towards the back, or less towards the front at least.
Yeah, at least it enables the horse to, if you do it correctly, as we will see, there are
If you do
different
it
ways to do it.
Obviously, that's always a thing. But it also in absolute terms, that is a thing.
Yeah.
The more you stretch it forward, the heavier the weight on the front must be, at least as long as you stand still. But then, of course, there's a lot of dynamics.
The weight will be the same, but the momentum is different. Yeah.
Yeah. So lots and lots of different things that happen there. But that prioritize thing, that's really important. The body will either solve those problems by just going limp through the spine and especially neck, or it will solve those problems by becoming stiffening against them.
Yeah.
And the only solution for both of those sides is to teach proper movement. So that doesn't mean that you have to tell the horse that it has to do this and has to hold his head, but you have to enable the horse to be moving in all those positions with power.
And we got this question, why can't the horse just move naturally?
Yeah.
And you force him into some unnatural posture. But that is not true, because we're using a natural movement pattern, the pattern that the horse uses to show off in the paddock to the other horses. They're moving with crested neck and stuff like that. All that is something that we try to mimic.
Yep.
But the horse is from nature, it will do that like for 2 steps, 3 steps. But if we
through a
train the
whole
horse,
fight.
yeah,
or...
but we want the horse to be able to do that for as long as we ride him.
Yeah, because we're sitting on top.
Yeah,
it's sort
and
of
then it's
take the responsibility for whatever you've.
Yeah.
I have decided I want to be a rider, and then I will have to make sure that I take the responsibility that I enable the horse to carry me at the best.
Yes.
In the best way I am able to.
And the good thing for the horse is that when, we're always talking about there should be something in this for the horse as well.
Yeah.
And if we teach the horse to be stronger in this pattern, when he comes back to the herd, he is rising in the hierarchy.
Yeah, because he has become more competent.
And more strong. And
but he's more competent at moving, which is what a horse is all about. It's about competence in movement.
Yeah.
So if he becomes really good at moving, then and yeah.
Yeah. So let's go. Shall we try the video?
I'm good with video. I haven't seen it, so I'll be interested.
So now I'm on a snaffle bit. That is the most simple, like three-piece snaffle bit, and yeah. Now in the beginning, he's a little like lifting his head up. And now when I'm starting to move differently with my seat and my legs, he's starting to move his nose downwards and the back up.
Yeah.
You can see both here. And it's also the lighting is very good, so you can see the muscles in his neck.
Yeah.
So I guess we can study this video a couple of times. And here is important to repeat what we've said many times about the underneath the muscles on the underside of the neck. They are inhibitors for the top line, and the top line is the chain of muscles from the ears to the bottom of the hind legs, that is making a chain of muscles that are carrying the rider and carrying the horse in powerful motion forwards. So we want the horse to relax in the muscles on the underside of the neck.
Yep, absolutely.
So that when I'm starting warming up, I want him to just stretch, and now you see that his head and neck is going like this instead of
Yeah, sometimes he stretches the right way, and sometimes he sort of pulls his where you're sitting down while the head comes up, and we want that other way.
Yeah. So when he's doing the lift of the head, he's trying to sort of throw his head and neck up in the air, and then use his underneck to lift his front legs.
Yep.
And if he's moving over the back, he will lift the withers so that the front legs can move forwards like a pendulum.
They'll just hang there.
They're
and
just
swing.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
a thing that you can look at that makes it easier for everybody who's watching is that if you watch the neck from sort of the midpoint and backwards, not all the time, now you can't see it, but you'll see when the sun is on the neck there, so we have to walk half circle, you'll see that the musculature on top of the neck from, 2/3 away from the, 1/3 away from the ears, sometimes you can see that whole muscle go pop in every stride. It's not really there now. He's lifting his head a little bit too much. So sometimes you can see that muscle pop out really, so it's easy to see. And when it is easy to see, then the movement will almost always be much better too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things you can watch for in your horse. So that sort of the triangle of muscle from just in front of the rider's hands and forward in the neck. So yeah, it was fairly obvious here. You can see it not quite. Now we have, there's connection.
There is when I was starting to use my seat.
Yeah, the one time when it stretches all the way down, you can see the muscle on top of the neck go pop as well.
And you can see a little further in the video, you can see that I'm showing that if I just sit there and I lift my hands and I just sit there with the dead hands and just not pull at the reins, but just becoming still.
Yeah.
We'll see. Here I'm doing the half pulse and using my seat and legs to make his back move.
Yeah.
Then here you can see now I'm holding passively at the reins, and he becomes like this with up with the head.
Yeah.
And the nose is in front of the vertical, and everything looks nice for many people, but his back is disengaged because the underneck is engaged.
Yep.
And then they are sort of inhibitors for each other.
Yeah.
Because they're
too much tension in one cancels the other.
Yeah. And they're direct like antagonists.
Yep.
So when this is active, this one can't. They should be like active in unison, in symphony. But if the underneck is blocked, like locked and doesn't move, this one can't move either.
No, there will be restrictions to what kind of movements it can do for sure.
So this is going to be a lot about how to not, because Dalton, my horse, is very good at blocking his underneck.
Oh yeah.
And he's very good at pulling at the reins because he's searching for resistance. He's been a show jumper, and many people ride show jumpers with only the reins. And I don't know anything about what he's been doing before. It might be that he had other trouble, so I don't know. I'm not going to say somebody has done something wrong.
Yeah,
no.
This happens to young horses as well,
yes,
though they haven't been ridden.
But it's something that you need to be aware of in a horse, that if he wants to... All horses go into pressure. But some horses are really addicted to resistance. So if they find a hard hand, they will go directly into it. So I need to move my hands all the time so he doesn't have anything to...
I tend to do the same. Tend to do the same thing in my armor. When I'm using the helmet that's sort of strapped onto my chest plate and back plate. Then I want to push into the helmet in front, And when that happens, I can also push out into the back plate.
Yeah, so you sort of...
So I go into the pressure from both of those, and now I feel really safe.
Yeah, now you're balanced. No,
Yeah,
you're not.
nah.
You're just leaning on
I'm just
something.
stuck.
And people say, I need to support the horse. No. Can you tell that story again about the kid who was...
It's so difficult to tell the story without showing, but I can try. There's this common thing in the classical dressage texts that says that the bit is so that both the rider and the horse can know something about their balance. That's what the bit is about in many of the classical texts. And what that means is that the bit becomes a part of the proprioceptive sense of the horse and of the human. And the point there is that sometimes when you wake up in the night, have to go to the bathroom or something, and it's completely dark, you have probably noticed that you have to just search for a wall or something to support yourself on, because it's so difficult to balance when it's completely dark. And that is because most of the balance in everyday activities comes from the vision, from eyesight. So if you don't have that eyesight, then you have to rely on other input for the brain to find good enough balance to move around. You can do that by just supporting yourself on the wall. But the point isn't that you're supporting yourself from falling on the wall. You don't hold on to it. What you do is you just feel the wall like this. You have this thing to support yourself on, and now you know something about your environment, because this thing isn't moving. And that's what the bit is supposed to be. You have to hold it in relation to the midpoint of the horse. The saddle is supposed to be constructed so that your seat bones are situated in the middle of the back. And if you don't move your hand, well, there has to be some give, because you're both gonna screw up balance. Balance isn't a perfect thing, unless it's perfect, which it isn't. So your seat is in the middle. You give the rein this long, whatever long, it doesn't really matter, and the horse can then find that same length all the time. And this gives proprioceptive input. So I taught this to a student just a few weeks ago, and she went home to her 10-year-old daughter, and
10 months.
10 months old.
Different.
It's the same.
Yeah.
10-month-old daughter, who they have tried to, at that age, you try to stand up and try to hold the kid in the hands and stuff like that. But she wasn't able to stand. But then she just held out her finger so the daughter could support herself just a little bit on the finger. And then she found her balance by that little thing. And she walked her first couple of steps then.
That's the reason why the title for this stream is To The Bit.
To
not
the bit.
On the bit.
So that's the idea. To the bit. If this cup falls over, I'm not to the bit. I'm not holding a contact anymore.
And in German it's called an die Hilfenstellen instead of auf. An means to, like this, and auf is on top of. So you need to
Can
balance.
I do this?
Yeah.
I can't do it.
So
it doesn't work.
Shall we see another video?
Yeah, let's see the videos instead. I got fascinated.
This is a physics video. So now I'm shortening him up a bit, and you can see that his head goes down, down, down. He's a little behind the vertical. That is because he is not engaged enough from the hind legs.
Yeah.
But that is okay, because we're not working on collection right now. We're just showing what happens when you see. I'm trying to shorten him up, and he's very tense in his underneck.
Yeah.
He that is one of his problems. As soon as there is a challenge, he will tense up there, and you can see it even bulges.
Yep.
And then you get this lifting the front legs with like heaving his head up. And you see now when I'm trying to do half holds, he just leans into the pressure
and resists by pushing against and up into the bit or over. onto
and I
the
have
bit.
to sit there and wait. And then what I'm doing now is I'm positioning his head to the side. And we've been talking about this positioning. What that is that the horse needs to bend in his first two vertebrae, the joint between the first vertebrae and the head and the next one.
Why is he moving backwards?
Because he thinks it's difficult. He goes away from the.
What's difficult?
To position his head to the right.
Yeah,
right
so he
now.
tries to sort of walk back out away from the rein.
You can
away
see
from
that the top of his neck is bulging this way.
Yeah.
And
in the Stellung, the bend and the positioning.
The positioning of the horse.
Yeah.
That is so important to understand what positioning is. It's exactly what I said. It's the bending of the two first vertebrae or two first joints in the spine, in the neck. And the horse is not able or not willing to do that, he will struggle. So I'm sitting there just calmly waiting until he is able to relax in that joint. And you can see that he protests because he is so afraid of that part. So he wants to tense up there, and I'm just waiting. And I'm not pulling, I'm just trying to get him to relax there. And now he's obviously I was letting him go, so then I guess he relaxes a bit. Yeah, you can see that when the light is there. Oh, he's trying. And then positioning and letting go.
So even if he was up and against the bit for a while, he was much more calm in his rhythm and his responses.
Mm-hmm.
So he was starting to consider whether he could. Is this a thing I can do? Yeah,
and we did this. He hadn't been ridden for a week, so it was a good way good thing to use that horse because we need to show that things are difficult.
Yep.
And then he
grows stiff in between his rides.
He does,
especially if there's
and he's
little
starting
time.
to become old, and he has had this problem.
So he's moving much better in the trot than he was at the walk. Why is that?
Because I was able to take away that stiffness in his neck. Because that is a severe inhibitor for the whole movement.
Yeah, but so you did that in the exact moment you went into the trot, or what? How? I'm asking for your explanation.
This is not an exact. I can't say exactly what.
I would have said it is because he has more impulsion in the trot.
Yeah, that is a Museler answer. Yes.
Yeah,
that is what he says.
Yeah, but Museler also says that if the horse on the circle doesn't come to the aids one way, then he'll do the other way. Mm. If not at the walk, then at the trot.
Yes.
So. Mm-hmm. You'll find a way.
Yeah, and sometimes that's the canter.
Yeah, and this
it depends on the horse.
Quite typical also that on the right hand you lack impulsion, and at the trot there's a little bit more impulsion, and he finds better balance perhaps because of that. That's a possible reason.
And also it's like the walk is more stretching for the diagonals. Mm-hmm. So if the horse is stiff in the diagonals, it might be more difficult to do it correctly in walk and more easy in the trot because there is a moment of suspension.
Yeah. So there's always a reason, and sometimes you just have to switch it up.
Yeah.
Some more.
Shall we see that once again? Because there was we can't. It's impossible to tell everything that we see, like in real time.
Yeah.
You see here, I'm trying to collect him a little, or not collect him, to shorten the rein.
Yep.
And then he uses his usual...
his antics.
Yeah, and I wanted to show this because this is what many people are experiencing when they're trying to stop the horse, for instance. Mm-hmm. Or they're the horse is running and the horse just throws up its head and runs away.
Yeah.
And that is because the horse it tenses up in his underneck, blocks the whole apparatus there, and then the horse loses his balance and just runs, and then he will chomp onto the bit and become impossible to control. So a very, very nice way to just get away or take away that underneck thing is to make the horse be able to position its head a little to the side. Then he can't be that stiff in the underneck.
Or at least he can be softer in the underneck.
He can be, yeah. True. Some horses really they're really difficult to especially some cold-blooded horses. They're really, really difficult. But this is the way to do it then. And you need to sit still and just wait. And the horse, you can see that he tries everything to stop me from doing that.
Yeah, I can see that you're trying to keep contact with his mouth, but he throws his head around all sorts of ways, so it's kind of hard to keep your hands still.
Yeah, so I just need to try to hold the contact while he's doing this, and I say, yeah, you have to just do this a little with your head and let that underneck loose. And then when he's starting to consider it, I let him go and I position him a little more to the side, and then I just yield the reins. Or not, I don't give away the contact, and then I do it again. I position him to the inside, then I let go.
Yeah.
And now the underneck is loose.
Yeah, and he followed the hand forward.
Yeah. And now
good job, well done.
Thank you. And then you can see also that he lifts me up when he's doing that. And then he was tensing up again. And now he
very important thing to notice that when you were holding your hand, he was keeping his head up and you held the contact and your hands came all the way back here and moved around to try and keep in touch with his mouth.
Yep.
Because that's what you're trying to do. With a soft hand, trying to keep that contact.
Yeah. And then because I need to be able to yield them as soon as he yields.
This is important that it isn't when you hold your hand back that the horse is supposed to sort of fall into the position. It is when you give your hands forward again.
Yes. And so very often you have to give your hands forward before he yields.
You do it to allow him to,
as we have said many times, the horse wants to push into pressure. Mm-hmm. The horse always wants to go into pressure, and we can.
You can teach him to go away, but it's difficult for.
Yeah. So here I was trying to show how he is sort of. In order to strike off into canter, he will throw his head up and try to lift his front legs with his underneck. Yeah.
I think for me it's important to also note that when he throws his head up, it isn't just that he throws his head up like there. He also throws it all the way from
the sternum?
From the sternum, or
rib cage.
Kind of hard from that side, but when you lift this way, so you bring the whole rib cage up and the back drops.
Mm-hmm. Especially
the whole back drops, and then so the lifting comes from underneath the saddle, and the horse lifts his head and neck and front forehand, and then the underneck brings the legs up and forward too. Something like that.
Yes, and the reason why the horse needs to relax there and lift his withers is that then he can lift the back up from the hindquarters.
And that allows the horse to lift the rider up.
Yep.
There, instead of smacking the rider down just behind his.
That is the reason why we're starting like in elementary level. We're starting with teaching the horse to relax in his neck. Mm-hmm. And finding the rhythm, as we have said many times.
Yep, cool.
Mm-hmm. Can we see the next one?
Yeah, let's roll it.
And now I started with a draw rein.
Oh, you're evil.
Yeah. And the draw reins are evil if you're using them the wrong way.
I know that.
So now I'm going to show you, and I don't like this, but I'm going to show you what happens when you try to pull the horse together with the draw rein with both sides. You can see that now he becomes to walk behind the vertical, and then he loses his back.
Can you tell me how you can see that it loses his back? Does he now, or just...
hind legs become straighter,
Mhm.
and the rhythm is different. And now it's not something that is very easy to see in such a short time. You could do this a little, and then the horse will not become troubled. But it took me 2 days to fix this afterwards.
All right. For that little
this short
instance?
little thing. Yeah. You can see here, now I'm trying to stretch him, and he's still behind the vertical.
Yeah, he doesn't want to go forward to the end.
So, and the next time I wanted to put the bit on him, he didn't want to open his mouth.
Yep.
So if you don't know what you're doing, you should never use a draw rein. And I sometimes may let students do it, but then I'm there and I know that they're able to ride the horse forwards to the bit.
Mm-hmm.
Because you need to release.
Yeah.
And now you can see that I'm using the side rein only on the inside.
Yeah.
And the outside, it's actually too loose here, so I'm correcting myself so that he doesn't sort of like stumble in it.
Mm-hmm.
That is important, but it needs to be loose because he needs to be able to freak out somewhere. If
what do you mean, freak out somewhere?
Yeah, because he needs to be able to let his shoulder out.
So let the energy out somewhere else than through the inside.
Yeah, or just break in his back. Or in his third vertebrae in his neck or something like that. So, but what I'm doing here, and that is also my favorite riding author, Wilhelm Müseler, he is also recommending exactly this thing. And that is where I learned it, but I've seen it also used in many other old manuscripts.
Mm-hmm.
It's a way to prevent the horse you don't want the horse to position himself to the outside.
Yep.
So it's a sort of a wall or a prevention, so that you say to the horse, I don't want you to look to the outside, but or else you just apart from that you can find out how to do this.
Yeah, you can do as many faults as you like as long as it's not the one that is looking to the outside.
Yeah. And then you can see that he finds his rhythm in a relaxed way. And now he's not behind the vertical, even though I destroyed him a little there. And he's still stressed out here. It's still too
running
quick.
A bit.
Still quick because what I did to him.
Yeah.
And I still have a little bad conscience for it. But yeah, sometimes you have to do it to show, because
take one for the team.
Yeah, I thought Dalton and me were going to take one for the team, because I don't want to show other people, see what they're doing. No, and then it's impossible to show quickly how to fix a horse that has been done to the horse for a long time.
Yeah.
Because we have horses here that we have worked with like for years to fix this forceful pulling the horse into the position of the neck.
Yeah.
Because you can't, if you're pulling the horse's head down, the only thing that you're training is the underneck.
Yeah. A question?
Yep. Nina Klibane is this is difficult to explain, but I hope I can make a little bit sense out of it. My horse has started to stop when I shorten the reins, even though it's just a little bit. We work on true and softer contact, and I try to shorten when we are soft, but it is not enough. I am not objective enough to figure it out. We struggle with him being very heavy on the hand, so there is almost always a type of contact, even though it is not the type of contact we want. I am trying to make sure to not be as passive in my hands and more dynamic, mostly on the left sides. Any thoughts?
Yeah, the horse is stiff. That is the problem, especially when you say it's more on the left side. The horse is stiff. You need to
work on the positioning of the neck.
Yeah, positioning, and probably stretch him all the way down.
You know,
Be patient.
I'm talking about positioning all the time, but I've found out that most people, they think that positioning is the same as bending.
Yep.
And it's not. It's not, because then sometimes when you need trying to position the horse, you will have to bend him a little. But if you're trying to bend the horse when he's not over the back, it's very difficult for the horse.
Yeah.
So then he will resist. But what you're doing, you know, I've been doing this a lot. You need to just make the horse do this with the first, like this, in a relaxed way. This is positioning to the right, positioning to the left. It's a very small little thing. And in the dressage rules, it says on a bent track, the horse needs to be positioned and bent to the inside.
Yeah.
And on, for instance, a leg yield or in a turn on the forehand, the horse needs to be only positioned and straight in the back.
Mm-hmm.
So this is something that we need to know. It's a very, very important tool.
Yeah, it's put into into the teaching in all different ways. In the books.
So what I would say to Nina, work on the positioning. Also, when you're on foot beside the horse, find out which muscles in the neck are hard, and
hold a finger on them.
Yeah, and watch the things that we have said about untangling and massaging the muscles.
Also, check out your hips.
Lunging, things like that. Check out
your hips.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's always useful to get more flexible.
Yeah. But where were we?
We were looking at some videos with draw reins.
Did we? Yeah, draw reins. And also, people are using the draw reins, fastening them between the horse's front legs.
All right.
That is even more terrible, because the horse is not able to lift his head.
Yeah.
Because then you're always just training the wrong muscles, and the horse is pulling. You need to. What you need to do is make the horse carry its head, and stretching it forwards.
Yep.
So, but if the horse is too stiff here, you need to make him loosen it, and then you can do that with the positioning.
Right. So just to be perfectly, plainly clear, this is not how to do it. Is that right?
Yeah. What I was doing here was actually using only the inside.
Okay.
Only the inside. Right?
But still, after this, you said he was very stiff and difficult. Didn't want to.
Yeah, that is because I was starting with using the draw reins on both sides.
All right. Is that the only prerequisite, that you use the draw rein on one side only?
Yeah.
Is that the only prerequisite to do it right?
No, you have to give.
You have to give.
Yeah, you have to just, you're using it, because this horse is, he's very good at sort of, or what you call it, he's avoiding the aids. He's trying to using all his might to tense up.
Yeah.
So I need to hold him so that he can't do it, and then ask him to do a transition. And if he does the transition without tensing up, I can just let go, because then he's in the right pattern.
So I assume that it's not just the transition, like moving all the way from some sort of gate into a complete other gate. I am assuming that in there somewhere you feel something that makes you give the hand.
Yeah.
So this
half holds.
But this is complex. That you need some serious sensitivity in your hands and feet to do this correctly. Is that right?
Yeah, that's the reason why you shouldn't do this until you can actually ride a horse to the bit with half holds and
at least know
with
about.
A seat and
you need to know your weaknesses then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
So it's not something that you do because you can't ride the horse to the bit.
No.
And we're going to look at the curb bit afterwards and see the same thing.
Next video?
Yeah.
Cool.
And what have we got here? Is the curb bit? No?
No, it looks like the side rein, the draw rein still.
Yeah,
but I think on the other rein?
I think because it's actually on the left side, he's
That's
got
the
most
really
trouble.
stiff
Yeah.
side. Yeah.
Yeah, here you can see that he lets go on his stiffness there. There. But he's really difficult here.
Yeah.
And you can see that the only thing I do is making him do this positioning, and it's such a it's such a tiny thing. In the riding school they used to say you should actually be able to glimpse the horse's inside eye and its inside nostril.
Yeah.
Then
If you're sitting straight
if you're
up, I
sitting
suppose.
straight up, you can see the horse's inside eye and its inside nostril.
Mm-hmm.
Even when the horse is straight, now he's on a circle, so then I ask him a little for a bending as well.
Yeah.
But you should not ask the horse for too much bending in his neck when he is not over the back, because the horse here, he's not able to bend his neck before he lifts his back.
That's the
When
same
he
thing.
here you can say that when he lifts his back, and I am actually riding him a little straight on the circle,
Yeah.
and then I try to bend him, and then he can't do it.
No. Yeah. So the draw rein is on the cavesson, is it?
Yeah, I remember now.
Yep.
We were showing how you can use the cavesson, because the cavesson is very powerful for making the horse position his head to the side.
Yeah.
You can see that he is really tense when he is stiffening up in his neck.
Yeah.
And then I position him. Here is where well positioned there, and then he stretches and relaxes, and then
it runs off again.
yeah. Because
Which
he's
is, of course,
very
natural,
afraid of
but-
pulling here. He's very afraid that I'm going to pull him together.
Mm-hmm.
Because the point is not to pull the horse together with the hands. You want the hands to like, here I had to stop him because he's running,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to give with my hands. And that's the reason why my hands come up to my belly. You see, here I'm stretching. The whole goal with this is to let him stretch, because then the underneck will relax and then the rhythm will come.
Yeah.
And you can see here the position of the neck and head is important for. Yeah, you can see half holds and then give, half holds and then give.
Yeah.
Or half holds is actually you give a little, an aid with your hands, and then you give forwards. That is the half hold. There is no half hold without the giving.
No.
Mm.
That's because you can't be balanced as long as the hand the hand keeps making tension.
Uh-huh. So
That is
if
the
you're
idea.
pulling, the horse is not to the bit,
Yeah.
as you were saying
you can
about the baby that learned to walk.
And you can see now that as long as the horse, when the horse is swinging in a good rhythm, you can also see that the draw rein is loose.
Yeah. Because
The
you
point
can't...
isn't to pull the nose back with the draw rein,
No,
is it?
that is so misunderstood.
But
it's a terrible thing to do.
But then you will have to tell us how, what, more. So is the idea just that?
Yeah.
To move the nose to the side?
Yes.
All right. That is why you're using the cavesson here as well.
Yeah.
And it's also the reason you say, don't use both at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Because then you will curl the neck.
Yeah, you can't position the horse to the outside and to the inside at the same time.
Exactly.
That sounds a little bit difficult, doesn't it?
And then now you can see that the both draw reins are loose.
Mm-hmm.
But now he's starting to run a little again.
Yeah.
And then I have to use a half hold.
Yeah.
So you're actually using half holds also on the inside rein. And this is, of course, many people think that we're asking people to just ride on the inside rein. And that is, of course, wrong. But when the horse is running like this and tensing up in the underneck, he's not able to take the outside rein in the correct way.
No, he can't go there as long as he's stiff. And you can. It is actually impossible to be positioned to the outside and go to the outside rein.
Yes, and many people are taught to like pull on the outside rein to get the horse to the outside rein, and that is not possible, because then the horse will position itself to the outside, and then there will be some crookedness in another part of the spine.
Absolutely.
So you get this crooked spine.
Mm-hmm.
You need a bend that is even the whole way, even here.
Yeah, and even in the sacrum area, sort of, isn't it?
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, shall we see the next one?
Sure. So it's still the positioning.
Yeah, still, because it needs to. Now I really, fucked up the horse a little. Excuse me, but I did that with a draw rein, and then you can see that he's stressing with the bits. So then I'm able to show also how to make the horse relax, because many people are struggling with horses that are stressed.
Too tense. Yeah.
Too tense, and when they're tense like this, it's because they're tensing up right in behind the jaw.
Yeah.
And then you need to tell him, no, just relax there, and when he's relaxed there, you have to go right away.
And you're not even waiting until he relaxes. It
No.
looks to me as if you give your hand in order to make him relax.
Of course.
When some prerequisites sort of in the seat or feeling or a balance or all that is on.
Yeah, and the only way to know when is to practice.
Yeah.
To do this a lot. I preferably with somebody showing you how. But
Don't
it's
do it
so
without someone.
easy to teach yourself to pull here.
Don't do it without someone showing.
So this is something that I show for people who really know what they're doing, and to say to everyone else, don't do this at home.
Mm-hmm.
Don't. But you see here that I was asking him for a strike off in decanter, and he thinks that is very difficult. But here he's not very stressed out.
I actually managed for him a very good transition.
Yes.
And it was an all right transition all over.
Yeah, and he falls into like the calm walk.
Yeah.
Without rattling along.
But also pay attention to this: is the draw rein is a more absolute aid.
Yes.
More than the regular rein.
Yeah.
Right. So then we see that as soon as Hanne puts power into the movement in the form of canter here, she brought her seat out of the saddle.
Yes.
So that means the seat yields more because the hand yields less.
Mm.
So there's some sort of symphony between those two, or three even, if you count the energy or the leg as the third.
Yeah, because when the horse is stiff in the neck, there is very often very much trouble with handling energy from the hind legs.
Mm-hmm.
So you either have to take away the energy in the hind legs and ride really slowly and without energy, or the horse will run. But if you take away the tension in the neck, the horse will, and the back, but the neck comes first often.
Yes.
And
neck
then
is prioritized.
It's the half halts, as we have told before, and half halts on a straight line. But with this horse, it's not possible to just use half halts on a straight line.
No.
You must also use it on the bent line.
Yep.
And then, but you must not pull the horse to in order to get him bent. You must just it's like just like loosening up a tense knot. A knot on the string. You have never done that.
Like this?
Yeah. You just do that. So, but other people, we who are knitting and stuff, when there is a knot on the yarn, you just very softly do this.
Yeah, my dad does that whenever I have fluked the line on his
on the fishing rod. Yeah, you can't just pull.
I can,
You must
but it doesn't
do
work.
this very, very easily and very softly, and
Yeah.
feel what the horse does, and feel when he's.
It sounds very much
considering
like
to
patience to me.
Yeah. So I think the next video is about the curb bit, because it's so alluring to put on the curb bit to make the horse do this with his neck. Like that. Yeah. So now I'm going to be unkind to my horse again, and I hate it, but then I have to show you how to just use the curb bit and to make him bend his neck.
All right. Yeah, I can see that you're riding on the curb only.
Yeah.
With one hand on each curb.
Yeah, each rein. Yeah.
That's several no-nos at the same time.
Yeah, and you can see that he's
becoming tighter and tighter up here.
and he's pulling and pulling with his underneck.
Even and now you tried to give, and he still really struggles.
Yeah. So it's the
now
same.
You took up the reduin.
Yeah. And you can see that what I destroyed here.
Yeah.
With
His
like
back is
half
just
or
gone.
Yeah, his back is gone. Just by pulling at the curb bit for like half a.
Could you please
circle.
restart that so we can see it again, Eva? I need to have it fresh in my mind. All right, so he's all right, and then you're riding on that, and his hind legs are becoming straight, and his neck is sort of.
You can see that his
Now
underneck is bulging.
Yes, even if he's a kind of. But the front there looks sort of. It's almost in the same. If you squint a bit, maybe it looks alright. That's sort of.
And you can teach the horse to do this because he gets so afraid of the curb that he will never take the contact.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it's so alluring to be in love with the curb bit because it will make the horse curl his neck and even get a very high head position.
Yeah.
But the neck or the back will be lowered, and many people who are ridden like many horses that are ridden like that get this really big hole under the saddle where there is no muscle.
Yeah, that happens quite a lot.
So, and you see still the horse is behind the vertical, and he's difficult, and you can see afterwards that I'm trying to collect him, and he's so hard and so stressed out.
Yeah. Do you have time for another question?
Yeah.
Stian Twenge. One of my common mistakes when I ride is that I let the reins slip out a bit in trot and canter, since the horse often leans a lot on the bit. When the reins get longer, the horses I ride will rarely want to search for contact and hold their head high and become unbalanced. My riding instructor is very fond of using restrained reins, like you show here, as a quick fix for multiple of the school horses. What can I do to encourage the horse to search for contact when I ride the school horses?
That's
Good
a
question.
brilliant question. Very good thinking. All right. What you describe is exactly the kind of problem that Hannah has tried to describe as well. And you can see that it is actually quite difficult to spot the differences in the horse when it isn't correct and when it is correct. It's quite easy to feel it if you know both, but it's quite difficult to see. It's about the back being soft and easy to sit. So this is what you should have felt, but it's not to be expected with horses that are ridden by lots of different people who are just riding in a riding school. So this is not meant as any sort of dig at anyone. I just try to explain what's happening. So this horse, instead of carrying himself over the back properly and going up to the bit, the horse will just lift the head and then drop the back, and it feels horrible to sit, and then your hands slip. Your body tries to, or it just, you either drop it because you're so busy with trying to sit an uncomfortable gait that your body just can't handle all that pressure at the same time. And also the horse will have sort of random responses to what's going on. So in order to make it possible for a lot of kids and not extremely experienced riders to enjoy some sort of canter and trot, it's easy to just put on the draw reins or some other sort of thing, and then to make sort of a shortcut, and it is completely understandable. But what you need to do, if you want to try and aid the horse to the best of your abilities, and obviously you are because you're trying to learn more, then Hanne says, position the horse.
Yes.
That little thing, and it is an extremely subtle thing. So you can whenever you're warming up or just walking the horse, or whenever you're relaxing the horse or whatever, then you can try and position just a little bit. And then sometimes you will feel the horse soften in the rhythm and the gait. And when you can feel that something softens, you have done a good job already. And that could accumulate, though the circumstances aren't, of course, perfect for that, if you understand.
You know, what I've been learning this on a gazillion of riding school horses. I've been working as a riding instructor there. I've been riding in riding schools, and you sit there. There are 10 different riders, and you have to do the same as the others, and the horses are stiff. And then if you when the instructor has his back to you, you can sort of do this positioning, and I guess the instructor will want you to do the half holds. I can guarantee you. And they often also say that, you know, you move your inside hand a little, and then you let go. And that is the same. But what people usually do is they fall into the rhythm of the horse, and they do this mechanically with their inside hand.
Good
and
point.
Then you're just sawing the horse's mouth like this.
You don't even have to saw the horse's mouth. The horse is perfectly accepting walking just like a, what do you call it? A Komodo varan?
Yes.
A Komodo dragon. It just moves the whole thing like this, back and forth. And you have to sort of follow the movement with your hands.
Yeah. Now it looked funny, I guess.
I hope so. That was my point.
Many people ride like that, and that is
Many
sort of a
horses
derivation
move like that.
from. That is a sort of, they have felt like if you do this positioning thing, the horse will react to it. But then you stop feeling, and you're starting to do something mechanical.
Yeah, you have now become a victim of the way this particular horse already moves.
Yeah.
It's important for us to note that what we are trying to teach is how to train a horse to some sort of level. It is not to try and become the same as whatever horse you're sitting on already. That's not the way we want it to work. You don't follow the horse's movements. You create the horse's movements.
Or you enable the horse to move to be the best version of itself. Mm-hmm.
Which is a much better way to say it. That was clever.
So
I want you to say that again.
No.
Yes.
You want the horse to be the best version of itself?
I want to enable the horse. Yeah, that's what you said?
Yeah, you want to take away the things that are preventing the horse to move in the good way.
Yeah.
Because every horse...
Strengthen its weaknesses.
Yeah, and take away the things that are inhibiting the horse.
Soften the stiffnesses.
And the underneck is the most important inhibitor in the horse. Because I guess... like 99% of the horses that I instruct, they have huge stiffnesses here. And they're not able to do the positioning. They can bend, but that is like letting the shoulder out and stuff like that. When they are impaired here, they are tensing up, biting on the bit and running.
a completely unrelated idea. It's not unrelated. Doing neck bridges has been a staple for wrestlers and acrobats and what do you call it, gymnasts forever and ever. Strengthening the neck and making it flexible.
Because that is important. Yeah.
An important thing is that if you do this, if you find your muscles here just above the collarbone and push some fingers in here somewhere, if you do that on yourself while watching yourself in the mirror, then you can probably see your eyes pop out just a little bit if you push hard enough. You don't have to push hard either, because the musculature here is really sensitive to that, because we sort of don't use it for anything. And the weird thing that I wanted to say that I thought was unrelated, it's not, it's really related. But the idea is that if you look at people who are really strong, they have huge muscles up here and wide necks.
And the same with horses.
Yes.
Really good, strong horses have very big, strong necks.
Yeah.
And a strong neck, a strong muscle is almost never stiff or blocked.
Or at least a weak muscle is almost always stiff.
Always. Or at least if there is a muscle that is weaker than the rest of the body, then it will be blocked and stiff.
Yeah.
So you need to loosen it up and strengthen it.
Yeah.
And then you need to work as gently and slowly as the weakest muscle can allow. So we are running out of time, so we should perhaps have a look at the next video. Is that the one with the collection? Perhaps. Let's see. You see that he's still trying to do this.
Pulls his head up.
That is because I destroyed his rhythm with the.
Yeah, and now his underneck is tense, and he's tense in the back underneath underneath the saddle.
Yep.
And it's almost impossible to get it loose again.
But the good thing about that, the good thing, is that I'm able to show how to work with a horse that is tense. Now you can see that he relaxes, and I have to give with the reins so that he can stretch. And it's important to use the seat and legs as well, and as we have been talking about,
shown that
before.
a lot. So
yeah. But this, you can work slowly with a horse that is tense, or even a horse that is like doesn't want to move forwards. Slow, like sluggish horses, they're often stiff in their necks, and their nervous system won't allow them to move like kick off with the hind legs because they're stiff in their necks.
Just try to bounce out of your sofa when you're done watching this and see if you can run real fast. Stretch first and see what happens then.
And now you see that I'm positioning, and they're positioning there. You can see that?
Yeah, I can
and
see
then
that.
He's stretching.
Yeah, the curb rein was loose while you were using the Bridoon to position him.
Yeah. But because the Bridoon is much better at positioning and then the curb.
Are you able to position him with the curb?
Yeah, I am, but it's more difficult. So, yeah, I guess we could just, since we are a little out of time, we could just show the last one, the one with the piaffe, because I can sit there and ask him for some steps, but you can see that he's tense in his underneck, and that's the reason why he's jumping and doing all kinds of fancy
evasions.
Yeah, he's very good at rearing. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because that is because of this tense thing in his neck. You can see it here very clearly.
How can you see it? Tell me.
It's bulging.
It's bulging out. Yeah, I can see that.
It shouldn't be.
It doesn't bulge all the time. At the very beginning there, it was, and then was one stride that wasn't. And now he didn't bulge for about a quarter of a second.
Yeah. He's trying. He's trying.
Yeah.
But you
slow motion now.
There it's good.
Maybe.
Yeah. Look at that. It was
and
soft, and then he just turned it on.
On and we'll. Oh yeah. easy to see,
I'm trying
right?
to lift my front legs, he says, but
Yeah.
you can't do that with the under neck. Or he can do it, but
He
then
can.
he loses his rhythm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's no rhythm at all. And he tries to sit down, and he's strong in
He's
his
very good at
hindquarters.
sitting down.
So
but
that's
he-
not
yeah.
the problem at all. The problem is he becomes stiff in the lower neck or under neck and in the back just
and you can
under
see
your
there.
seat.
Can you see there? When he lowers his head, it's not because I'm pulling him down. He does that himself when he's lifting
Yeah.
his back.
Yeah.
So it's important to understand you don't pull the horse's head down
No.
with not with a draw rein, not with a curb bit, not with anything. The horse does that when you let go of the rein.
So, summing up,
Yeah.
in summary of this this evening, watch the video back if you want to see how not to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the
And
draw
remember-
rein won't help you if you pull the horse together. Don't use both reins. The curb bit will not help you if you don't use it the right way. The horse has to be able to position,
Yeah.
and it has to be able to follow the hand forward. If it does, then you normally won't need the curb or the draw rein. Of course, I ride on a curb a lot.
Yeah, but there you ride the horse from the back up.
Yeah, it's
over the back.
so, my point is just it's not wrong to ride on a curb if you know what you're doing.
And that is important for me to say that these things are good tools
Hmm.
in the hands of a person who knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
Um,
I will
and it's
never be
also-
able to teach myself to shave with a razor blade. For sure, I will never have the patience for that.
Mm.
But I've heard it's a good tool.
Mm-hmm.
But I would probably kill myself with it.
Yeah. So you need to practice. Every sharpened tool is dangerous if
Yes.
you don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
So start with a snaffle. Snaffle is a very good tool to make contact with the horse's mouth, and learn how to position the horse. Learn how to do the half holds, how to give with the reins. But you shouldn't give all the time because then you haven't got anything left to give.
No. So it's not keep the reins loose.
No.
That's not the idea.
Then
The
the
idea
horse
is
will just
find
run.
the contact and then find the contact. And
Yeah.
if the horse comes to, give. Or even if it doesn't, give anyway and see if he comes and then take it
And
back
we've
up.
said that so many times, so for many streams, but I think we can't emphasize that enough.
No.
And that the horse needs to be able to stretch to the contact and lift his back through the half holds and through the positioning of the head here.
Yeah. Do we have a plan for the next one?
No,
Awesome.
But,
So it's going to be a surprise in a
we're
couple
gonna
weeks.
train and then we'll see what we are doing and then we can present that.
Yeah. Also, hammer us with those questions. Thank you so much for following us this late evening due to circumstances. We appreciate so much that you actually take your time to ask questions as well. It's brilliant. Thank you so much. I'm just going to not say anything more than good night.
Good night.